I have another update from a former Bradshaw Live guest whose story we have profiled on the show. Laura Meza, the only known female deported veteran, returned to the United States on April 16th after a 14-year exile. Laura was a 28-year-old single mother and U.S. Army veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and drug addiction when she was deported from the United States in 2009. She set foot on American soil for the first time in over 14 years as a 42-year-old grandmother while still dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, had turned her life around, and earned a rare opportunity to return to the United States, the country she served during the war in Iraq. Meza's return was made possible by a Biden administration effort to rectify deportations that it deems were unjust by allowing some immigrants who were deported after serving in the military to come back to the United States. Since the summer of 2021, the Department of Homeland Security program, known as the Immigrant Military Members and Veterans Initiative, has allowed 62 deported veterans and 9 of their family members to enter the United States legally to reunite with their families, access veteran affairs benefits, and explore paths to American citizenship and restart their lives. Meza immigrated to the United States from San Jose, Costa Rica in 1985 at the age of 5 years old. She basically knew no other country than the United States of America. She grew up in Maryland, graduated from high school in Washington, D.C. In 2001, she became a permanent resident. 2 years later, she enlisted in the U.S. Army to work as a dentist. While stationed in Germany, Meza said she was raped by another soldier. She did not report it, fearing retaliation. Then the war broke out in Iraq, and she, being in Germany, was deployed to Iraq to support the 2003 invasion. There she witnessed active war, including bomb attacks that killed some of her fellow soldiers in a mass casualty incident. In 2004, she was honorably discharged, but she was suffering from undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder, both from her unreported rape and her active duty military. She began to self-medicate with drugs. In 2005, she reported being raped a second time. And soon after that, her troubles began, real troubles with the law. Following several arrests, Meza pled guilty to attempted robbery and possession of marijuana with intent to distribute in Washington, D.C. This was 2007. She received a 30-day prison sentence for the marijuana offense and a 2-year suspended sentence for the attempted robbery. She was also ordered to get drug abuse treatment during her probation. But after serving her 30 days in prison, ICE came for Laura, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. They detained her for over 1 year in immigration jail and then deported her to Costa Rica in January 2009. Despite her uncertain legal situation, Laura is thankful to be back in the United States. She's planning to get treatment for her lingering post-traumatic stress disorder through the Veterans Administration. And after embracing her family after landing in Dulles International Airport from Costa Rica, once she and her 12-year-old Costa Rican-born son, Jaden, were released from Customs and Border Protection custody, she told CBS News, "I'm still walking on clouds. This is like a dream." When Laura appeared on Bradshaw Live in 2019, she had already spent 10 years in deportation, living in Costa Rica alone. She told me how she felt about her service in the U.S. military.
The initial reason that I joined the Army was because I wanted to be an Army dentist. I wanted a career in it as an Army dentist and to give my daughter Jasmine a better future. I always thought about college. I love education and learning and reading. But I was also told about the great benefits of naturalization, the healthcare benefits and education benefits. So that was also very appealing. But now, after actually being deported, I realized what a great country I served. And that now I feel more patriotic. Even I remember Hector Baraja saying this, and something I saw him on. But I really understand where he comes from when he says you feel even more patriotic when you're in another country that you didn't grow up in. And then I put my life on the line for my country, and I feel that's the most patriotic demonstration of love and pride I started to feel a lot of pride after basic training in AIT while I was in the military. I had leadership positions at times, and I felt, great. I never left anyone behind either. I was the one always carrying the soldier left last behind. I didn't want to leave anybody behind. I was selfless. And, all the moral principles and values that my dad and mom taught me as a kid just were reinstilled even more in the military.
Well, we are extraordinarily grateful that she is back in the United States. I thought any person who puts their life in the line of fire to support my freedom deserves to live in the United States. If they commit a crime, yes, they should go to jail. But they shouldn't get a second punishment and get deported to a country they don't know. Not if they put their lives on the line for me, defending my freedom, defending my ability to do this show, to talk freely, to walk the streets freely. So I commend her bravery, and I'm very happy when I hear her story and 67 other deported veterans who returned to the United States. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.